The story begins in a small town called Annieville. At the same time, Hurricane Henry is moving toward the town. At first, the storm only looks like normal bad weather, but in a short time, it becomes much stronger. Hurricane and storm surge warnings are issued. Because of that, the people in town are told to evacuate immediately. In the middle of all these warnings, Dakota is still inside her house. She looks calm and even calls her favorite restaurant to order a burger. But the restaurant is closing because of the storm, so Dakota has to go outside and find food by herself. But Dakota has agoraphobia, which makes her afraid of going outside. Still, she forces herself to leave the house. Outside, the neighbors are rushing to their cars. They are ready to leave the town. Then a loud fire truck siren passes by. The sound makes Dakota panic. She turns back to go home, but accidentally bumps into one of her neighbors. The neighbor is happy to see her outside again. Since her mother died, Dakota has rarely left the house. He offers to take Dakota with them so she can evacuate, but Dakota is too scared to go. So she returns home, because that house is the only place that still feels safe. Meanwhile, in another part of town, 3 siblings are playing near the swamp. Ron jumps into the river, then pretends to drown, but actually, he is only trying to scare the others. A few moments later, their foster father, Billy Olson, arrives. He tells them to get out of the water. Billy says if they get hurt, he will have to pay the doctor's bill. But Dee talks back. She says Billy would not even take them to the doctor.
Like you would ever take us to the doctor?
That only makes Billy angrier. Then he takes the siblings back to his truck. In another place, Lisa has just left her office and rushes to her car. Then she sees Bob. Lisa is confused because he is still working, even though the storm is getting closer. But Bob says his boss told him to deliver one last load. After that, Lisa starts driving while calling her mother. From their conversation, we learn that Lisa is pregnant. Her mother is worried because Lisa still has not left the town. The storm is getting closer and everyone has been told to evacuate. In another place, Dakota's uncle Dale is monitoring the storm. According to Dale, many fish are starting to move away from the storm. But it is not only normal fish, some bull sharks are also moving with the storm, and they may be looking for shelter in freshwater areas. After seeing how dangerous the storm is becoming, Dale calls Dakota. He tells Dakota to leave town immediately, but Dakota refuses because her house still feels like the safest place for her. Meanwhile, Billy is driving Ron, Dee, and Will back home. At the same time, the news announces a mandatory evacuation. People are told to leave their homes immediately because the storm surge will hit soon. When the kids see many people leaving, they ask if they should leave too. But Billy refuses. He thinks it is only wind and rain. After they get home, Billy complains about the foster kids. But his wife reminds him that those kids still bring them money. Dee secretly hears everything. She comes down because she is hungry. Then she sees steak in the basement.
Are those steaks?
But Billy only gives her bread and sends her back upstairs. To Billy, the kids are just money. At the port, reporters stop Dale and ask him about a shark attack near Myrtle Beach. They say it was probably a great white shark. Some witnesses even saw at least 2 sharks at the scene. But Dale corrects them. He says great white sharks do not hunt in groups, so based on the report, it sounds more like bull shark. But the reporter is not satisfied with Dale's answer, so he starts making the story sound bigger and scarier. Dale tries to correct him, but the reporter ignores him, so Dale walks away. The warning gets even worse. The news says the roads are already impossible to pass, and anyone who stays behind is told to write their contact information on their arm with a permanent marker.
Information on their arm in permanent marker.
Not for rescue, but so their body can be identified after the storm. Lisa is still outside trying to find help, but no one is there. Then her mother calls again to check on her. Lisa says the storm is getting scary.
Mom, it's getting scary.
But before she can say more, the call cuts off. A moment later, Lisa feels pain in her stomach. She turns on some music and tries to calm herself down. But the storm does not wait. Hurricane Henry finally hits Annieville. The wind is too strong, and the rain is too heavy. Roofs are ripped apart. Then the levee breaks, and water starts rushing into the town. Lisa is driving back toward town, trying to find help, but she does not know the levee has already broken. In the middle of the storm, Bob stops her on the road. He warns her to turn around.
Tree just came down! Back up and follow me up!
Because a tree has fallen ahead and almost knocked him off the road. Bob tells Lisa to back up and follow him, but the flood is coming fast. So Bob shouts for Lisa to drive through a gap in the fallen tree and get to higher ground. Bob also tries to reach higher ground, but his truck cannot move fast enough. Before he can escape, the rushing water hits his truck and sweeps him away. Lisa tries to drive through the gap too, but her car gets stuck and cannot move. Before she can escape, the flood sweeps her away too. Dakota is still at home when she starts to feel that something is wrong, so she walks toward the window and looks outside. That is when she sees the flood rushing through the town. Dakota can only stand there in shock.
Holy fucking shit.
But when the water gets closer, she quickly runs away from the window and heads upstairs. Back at Billy's house, the kids are watching TV. But then, a loud rumbling sound comes from outside. They walk to the window to check what is happening. And outside, they see the flood rushing into their yard. The kids warn Billy immediately, but Billy ignores them again. He still thinks it is nothing serious. Then suddenly, the window shatters. The flood bursts into the house and hits Billy. And this time, he cannot ignore it anymore. The water keeps spreading through Annieville. Meanwhile, Lisa's car is still being carried by the flood. The current pushes it forward until it slams into a tree. Luckily, the branch does not hit Lisa directly, but it traps her inside the car. At the same time, Bob's truck is also being carried by the flood. It crashes into a statue, and the tank on the back is ripped open. Raw meat spills into the water. Without anyone realizing it, the smell starts attracting something dangerous. Back at Billy's house, the water keeps rising. Billy's wife says they cannot stay there. Then Ron mentions the snorkel on the car. But Billy's wife snaps at him, thinking he is just being a smartass. This time, Billy realizes Ron may be right, so he goes to check the car and tells the kids to wait inside. Near Dakota's house, Lisa is still trapped inside her car and screams for help. Dakota sees her from the window, but Dakota is too scared to leave the house. So Lisa keeps screaming. A few moments later, Scott and Jimmy hear her voice too. Scott rushes toward Lisa's car and tries to calm her down. But when he gets closer, he sees that Lisa is trapped by the branch, so Scott tells Jimmy to get the big cutters from the back of the truck. After hearing that, Jimmy rushes to the truck and grabs them. Then he jumps back into the flood and tries to bring them to Scott. But as he moves through the water, Jimmy suddenly disappears. Scott does not notice it at first because he is still beside Lisa. But when Scott finally looks back, Jimmy is nowhere to be seen. Lisa keeps begging Scott not to leave her. Scott tells her it will be okay. Then he moves through the flood to look for Jimmy. He keeps calling Jimmy's name, but there is no answer. When Jimmy finally comes back up, his arm is covered in blood and his hand is gone. Jimmy! Scott panics and tries to reach Jimmy, but before he gets closer, Jimmy is pulled away by a shark. From inside her house, Dakota sees the whole thing. She screams that there is a shark in the water. Lisa hears it too and shouts at them to swim. Bob suddenly wakes up when he hears the screams. In panic, he forces the truck door open, but the moment it opens, the shark attacks him. Dakota keeps screaming to warn Scott. Scott finally hears her and turns around. Then he rushes back toward Lisa's car, trying to get out of the water. But before Scott can climb to safety, the shark catches him too. Lisa sees everything from inside the car. Now, everyone who tried to save her is gone. Back at his post, Dale hears the latest news. I-17, the road leading toward Annieville, is already flooded. Dale immediately gets worried because Dakota is still there. Then Dale checks a monitor and sees that the roads near Annieville are already underwater. That is when he realizes the levee must have broken. With the roads underwater, Dale has no normal way into Annieville, so he makes a deal with the reporters. They will drive Dale and his boat closer to the flooded road. And in return, they can follow him and film everything. Meanwhile, Billy still believes Ron's idea can work, so he rushes into the flooded garage with Rachel. They are trying to get the snorkel, hoping it can help them move through the water. But then something moves in the water and bumps into Rachel. Rachel gets scared, but Billy thinks it is only debris from the flood, so he ignores it and keeps looking for the key. Then, as Billy reaches the car, the shark suddenly attacks him. It bites his hand off and disappears back into the water. A second later, the shark comes back and attacks Rachel too. Billy tries to reach her, but before he can get close, the shark pulls her under the water. From inside the house, the kids see everything. They scream that there is a shark. Billy hears them and tries to get back into the car. But when he opens the door and tries to climb inside, the shark bites his leg. Then it drags him away. The kids can only watch as Billy disappears into the flood. Outside Dakota's house, Lisa is still trapped inside the car. The branches are pinning her down and she keeps screaming for help. Dakota hears her from inside the house. But instead of going outside, Dakota tries to call for help. Lisa says she cannot wait. She is stuck and the water is still rising. Dakota is terrified because she knows there are sharks around Lisa. She already saw what happened to the people who tried to help her. But then, Lisa tells Dakota the truth. She is pregnant, and she does not want her baby to die there before he even gets to take his first breath. Even after hearing that, Dakota stays silent. So Lisa begs her again. Dakota is still scared. But this time, she finally gathers her courage. Then she answers, she is coming. After saying that, Dakota finally starts moving. She goes downstairs and moves through the flooded house. When she reaches the kitchen, she climbs onto the counter and grabs a knife. Then, she heads straight for the window and climbs out. Now, Dakota has to reach Lisa, but between them, there is nothing but floodwater. As soon as Dakota climbs out, she slips and falls into the water. So Dakota quickly climbs onto a nearby car. Luckily, the shark does not attack her. From there, she looks for anything that can keep her above the flood. She moves from the car onto a floating roof. Then she notices a shark still moving nearby. Dakota is scared, but she keeps going. From the roof, she climbs onto the tree branch near Lisa's car. And finally, she reaches Lisa. Once she gets there, Dakota immediately takes out the knife. She cuts through the roof and tears it open, making a way for Lisa to get out. But Lisa still cannot get out. The branches are still trapping her inside. So Dakota uses the knife again and cuts the branches away. After that, Lisa is finally able to climb out. Dakota then helps her back to the house. They climb through the window and get inside safely. But Lisa is still weak after everything that happened. Inside the car, everyone hears the latest update. The Willow River has already overflowed, and the flood warning is getting worse. Then Dale's friend spots Dakota's house on the tracking screen. But that is not the only thing he sees. Near the house, there is Nellie. Nellie is a pregnant great white shark that Dale and his team have been tracking for the last 3 years. Dale immediately understands what this means. If Nellie can reach Dakota's area, then the bull sharks may have spread there too. That means the flood has turned Dakota's area into shark territory. Inside the house, Lisa thanks Dakota for saving her. Then Lisa realizes Dakota is alone. When Lisa asks about her parents, Dakota tells her the truth. Her father died a long time ago, and her mother passed away a few months earlier. Lisa feels sorry for her, but they still need a plan. Dakota thinks they can stay inside because the house feels safe, but Lisa knows that is not enough. If they want to be rescued, they need a signal so people can find them. So Dakota starts taking down the curtains. Later, she lays them out on the roof to form the word help. After Dakota finishes the signal, Lisa asks if it worked. Dakota says yes. If anyone flies over the house, they should be able to see it. But then, Lisa tells Dakota she is having contractions. Dakota starts to panic, but Lisa tells her they need to know if the baby is coming soon. The house could collapse, or the water could flood the whole house, so they need to know how much time they have left. Then, Lisa asks Dakota to check if the baby is already coming. Dakota is shocked, but she has no other choice. When Dakota looks, she sees something. Lisa realizes it might be the baby's head. Dakota then checks the opening and guesses it is around 2 or 3 inches. That means the baby is coming soon, and in their situation, that is not good news. Back with the 3 siblings, they are still trapped. After seeing what happened to Billy and Rachel, they are afraid the sharks may have entered the house. So Ron tells them they need to close the door until they know what to do. Dee tries to close it. But suddenly, a shark pushes the door open from the water. The shark starts entering the house. Dee loses her balance and almost falls in. Seeing Dee about to fall, Ron rushes to save her, but Will knows the shark is already inside the house, so he tries to stop Ron. Dee keeps holding on, but her strength is running out. Then her hand slips. She starts to fall. But at the last second, Ron reaches her and pulls her back. Dee is terrified, so Ron holds her and tries to calm her down. But the 3 siblings are still not safe. A shark is already inside the house, and the water is still rising. Ron knows the table can only protect them for a while. If they stay there, they will either drown or get eaten, so he decides they have to reach the roof. But first, they need to distract the shark, and the only place that may have something useful is the basement. Meanwhile, Dale loses the signal and the tracking system stops working. He thinks Dakota may be completely cut off from everyone. So he prepares his boat and moves toward the flooded road, knowing this may be his only chance to reach her. Inside Billy's house, Ron, Dee, and Will are still trying to find a way out, but the sharks are still moving below them. Then Dee remembers the stake in the basement. If they use it as bait, they may be able to distract the sharks long enough to move. Ron also wants to find a weapon down there just in case, but Will is scared because Billy never allowed them to go to the basement. Then Ron reminds them that Billy is gone now, so who cares about his rules anymore? For the first time, they dare to say what they really feel about Billy. But then, Billy suddenly appears again, badly injured but still alive. Billy's return shocks the three siblings. But at Dakota's house, the situation is getting worse too. The water is rising fast. Dakota and Lisa cannot stay there much longer. Dakota remembers the boat outside, the one left by the people who tried to save Lisa earlier. The boat is far away, and the water around it is dangerous. At first, Dakota still wants to stay inside. But when Lisa feels another contraction, Dakota realizes they may not have time to wait. So Dakota decides to get the boat herself. Lisa warns her about the sharks. But Dakota remembers what Dale once told her. Vibrations can make sharks think there is an injured fish nearby. If Dale is right, Dakota may be able to distract the sharks long enough to reach the boat. Still badly injured, he asks if Rachel survived. But even after everything that happened, Billy still only thinks about himself. He tells Ron to go into the water and find help for him. The kids know that is insane. The house is flooded, the roads are gone, and bull sharks are everywhere. But Billy keeps pushing Ron, as if Ron's life does not matter. Then Will notices a document nearby. Dee reads it and realizes it is a foster payment from the government. That is when Ron finally understands the truth. Billy was paid to take care of them, but he kept the good food for himself while they were left with bread. Billy tries to act like he cares, but Ron does not believe him anymore. When Billy keeps ordering him, Ron finally snaps and tells Billy to find help himself. But Billy gets angry and starts attacking Ron. Seeing that, Dee kicks Billy in the face. Billy falls into the water, and the sharks attack him again. While the sharks are busy attacking Billy, Dee tells Ron to go. This may be their only chance to reach the basement, so Ron dives into the flooded room. He grabs the steak from the freezer, then swims toward Billy's gun. But when he tries to take it, the gun gets stuck. At the same time, a shark enters the basement. Ron sees the shark behind him. Then he notices a can on a shelf nearby. He quickly knocks it down into the water. The sudden movement creates a small vibration, pulling the shark's attention away from him. Using that small chance, Ron grabs a box and swims back as fast as he can. Dee and Will reach out from the table. The shark is right behind Ron, but they pull him up just in time. Now Dakota starts her plan. She throws the plastic bags into the floodwater, hoping they can distract the sharks long enough for her to reach the boat. When the bags drift away, Dakota looks at Lisa, then at her mother's photo. She is still scared, but Lisa and the baby cannot wait anymore. So Dakota climbs out of the window and enters the floodwater. After entering the floodwater, Dakota looks around carefully and starts swimming toward the boat. At first, her plan seems to work. One plastic bag is attacked, pulling the sharks away from her. Dakota freezes for a moment, but she keeps going. Then another bag is attacked. She gets scared again, but the boat is getting closer. Then halfway there, her flashlight suddenly turns off. Dakota hits it until the light comes back. But when it does, she sees something horrifying right in front of her. Dakota panics and swims faster. Her panic attracts the bull sharks, and they start chasing her through the floodwater. Dakota keeps swimming, but the sharks are getting closer. Then, just before they reach her, they suddenly turn away. Dakota does not understand why at first, but then her flashlight catches a massive shadow moving under the water. A much bigger shark is passing beneath her. Dakota freezes for a moment, then keeps swimming toward the boat and climbs on. After more than 17 inches of rain, several towns are completely cut off from rescue. Dale and the reporters keep moving through the flood, trying to reach Annieville from the west side. On the way, Dale explains why bull sharks are so dangerous. They are not afraid of much. But there are two things that can affect them. They do not like bigger sharks, and certain electric currents can confuse them. Then, the signal finally comes back. Dale checks the monitor and sees dots all around Annieville. Those dots are sharks, and the town is already surrounded. After seeing the dots on the monitor, Dale looks toward the truck and tells them to slow down. His eyes stop on the electric equipment inside. After climbing onto the boat, Dakota looks back at her house. It is starting to fall apart, and Lisa is still trapped inside. Dakota knows she has to get back fast. Then she notices a spear gun inside a nearby house. Without wasting time, she reaches for it and takes it with her. Inside the house, Lisa's contractions get stronger. The baby is really coming now. Lisa tries to stay calm, so she turns on the music again. While Lisa tries to stay calm, the three siblings check what Ron brought back from the basement. They have the steak, but Dee asks about Billy's gun. Ron says the gun was stuck, so he could not take it. Their only hope now is the box he managed to grab. When they open it, they find something much more dangerous: dynamite. Back at Dakota's house, Lisa keeps pushing, trying to deliver the baby. But the damaged house finally breaks apart, and Lisa is thrown into the floodwater. She fights her way back to the surface and grabs a floating piece of wood. A few moments later, the baby comes out. For one terrifying second, Lisa cannot find the baby in the water. She keeps searching, and finally, she finds him alive. She quickly lifts him onto a floating drawer to keep him above the flood. But the danger is not over. A shark moves toward Lisa. She reaches for the broken debris around her and grabs a sharp piece of wood. When the shark gets close, she stabs it. Then another shark turns toward the baby. Lisa has no weapon left. She can only try to reach him before the shark does. But Dakota is almost there. When she sees the shark heading for Lisa and the baby, she raises the spear gun and aims. Just before the shark can attack, Dakota fires and hits it. Back at Billy's house, the three siblings tie the dynamite to the stake, light the fuse, and throw it into the water. Then they wait on the table, hoping the sharks will attack the bait, but nothing happens. Then Will remembers something he once saw on TV. Sharks are drawn to vibration. So the three siblings leave the table, their only safe spot, and move closer to the bait. They hit the water, making as much noise and movement as they can. This time it works. The sharks come for the bait. Before the sharks can reach them, the three siblings rush back to the table. Meanwhile, Dakota finally reaches Lisa with the boat. Lisa is still in the floodwater, holding the baby above the water. Dakota tries to pull her into the boat, but before Lisa can climb in, a shark slams into them. The boat flips over, and Dakota falls into the water. Now both Dakota and Lisa are trapped in the flood again, while the sharks circle around them. Then Dale finally arrives. From his boat, he sees Dakota and Lisa surrounded by sharks. He quickly throws the electric equipment into the floodwater. A few seconds later, it works. The sharks start moving away, giving Dale a chance to save them. But one shark does not move away. It turns back and charges straight toward Lisa and Dakota. They are trapped in the water, and the shark is already too close. Then, just before it attacks, a much bigger shark rises from below and strikes first, saving Lisa and Dakota at the last second. Back at Billy's house, the sharks finally reach the bait. One of them bites into the stake, not knowing the dynamite is tied to it. A second later, the dynamite explodes. The blast throws water and a disgusting mess all over the room. Ron, Dee, and Will are covered in the mess, but they are still alive. Now they finally have a chance to escape. Back in the floodwater, Dale pulls Dakota, Lisa, and the baby onto his boat. After everything they have been through, they are finally safe. At Billy's house, Ron, Dee, and Will use their chance to leave. They run to the garage, get into the truck, and drive away from the flooded house. In the end, Annieville is destroyed by the flood, but the survivors make it out alive. For Dakota, this night is not just about escaping the sharks. It is the moment she finally stops hiding and chooses to fight for someone else. And for Ron, Dee, and Will, leaving Billy's house means they finally have a chance to start over.